الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات أما بعد we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for having blessed us by numbering us among those of His servants who have listened to his instruction when he has commanded us that when the call is made to pray on Friday, Yom al-Jumu'ah, we should leave off our trade, we should leave off our business, and hasten to the remembrance of Allah, for only that is best from us, if only we knew. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this mercy that He has given us to make us among those who have listened and obeyed. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will continue to bless us by allowing us to be those who understand His deen and act according to Allah's instructions. The day of Jumu'ah, Yawm al-Jumu'ah, is a command that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed in His Quran for all adult Muslim male. The women are not bound to come, but they are welcome to come. So in spite that we might be sinful, even if we are sinful Muslims, which most of us are, we are compelled and to obey this command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to leave off our trade. It does not discriminate. It does not say that only the righteous ones should come to the masjid. So even if we have brothers and sisters who might not have yet transformed their lives and to become those who are supposed to be who are of the muttaqun, those who fear Allah and those who act according to that understanding. Even if these Muslims are sinful, even if these Muslims come from backgrounds that might be checkered or whatever, they are also duty bound to establish Yawm al-Jumu'ah. And we should encourage that, because in the days of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the people who came out to be Muslims came from the lowest rung of the ladder. Generally, they came out from the deserts. They came out from tribes that were some of them were bandits and all these different kind of things. As we went forward, when knowledge entered their hearts. So we should encourage all, even though some of our brothers might have had a history or involved in certain negative practices, that should not be an occasion to debar them from establishing the Yawm al-Jumu'ah, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it far compulsory on everyone, so that we will become of those who are the muttaqun. So obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps an individual to transform themselves from being among those who like were in Abu Dhar's clan, who were highwaymen, bandits and so on, to become of the best of human beings when deen entered into their hearts. So it must be clear that we can brand individuals and take away their right towards establishing the Jumu'ah prayer, which is a command from Allah, because they might not be squeaky clean. We have to encourage them to attend masjids and do things that would help them to transform themselves. This is the last khutbah for the month of Muharram, 1446 Hijri. The last khutbah for this year, this month that is the first month of the Islamic calendar, 1446 Hijri. And we have entered a year, this 1446 Hijri. This year is very, 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 what do they put it? It's a year that has a feel about it. that something big is about to take place. I just feel so, and Allah knows best. And as Muslims, we need to prepare ourselves to be among those who are firm in deen, because we are witness to what is taking place in the Palestinian area. I must go back there because that is the focal point of this period that we are living in now. The Zionists used one of these rockets with big bombs and blew up a building that killed the leader of Hamas a couple of days back, political leader, and his bodyguard. We have seen as Muslims this reality unfolding where these people are hell-bent on establishing the Zionist Greater Israel. We must know, Muslims, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to understand that reality. The game plan is to establish the Zionist state from the Nile to the Euphrates. So they mean to knock out all who are in their way, who stand in their way. They are comfortable. They are in bed with some of the regimes in the area. And I'm going to call names. The Saudis have made, alliances with these people that when Yemen have been defending the Palestinian situation and sending in rockets, the Saudis were intercepting these rockets and blowing them out of the sky that were targeting Israel. Blowing them out of the sky. So they are active participants in the defense of the Zionist program. We must know this. We must understand this. We must be under no illusion that these people are on the side of Allah's deen, in spite that they are being custodians of the Haramain. In spite of that, the reality is that we are in a very difficult time where we have people who are in charge of the two most sacred shrines in Islam, are the enemies of Allah. And they have shown that by their conduct. They have been opening up the Hijaz to all sorts of profanity, bringing nightclubs and all, you name it. These guys are bringing it in order to say that they are going to bring about a tourist industry and so on. That has nothing to do with it. It's about destroying the deen of Islam. They have changed the curriculum in the Muslim madrasas to weaken it from studying the seerah of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam and other disciplines that have been established for generations, to keep the ulama, the scholars, understanding this deen. No, they have watered down the curriculum and have something called Islamic studies. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, what they choose to put in. They have ensured that the imams, anyone who make a statement on a member in defense of Allah's deen or against their Zionist friends, will be taken down from the member, put in a prison cell. This is the reality. Egypt, where the Nile is also a puppet of the West. They have control over that all these quote-unquote regimes in that area, with the exception of one or two. So as Muslims, we cannot be blind to this reality. We have to understand that reality. So that is the mega picture, that is the bigger picture. But let us come home now. Let us come home now. Some of the brothers who are toiling to keep this movement, this Jamaat al-Muslimin, moving forward. The few individuals are asking me a question. Why is it so difficult to get brothers and sisters to come on board and support and bring about the struggle to raise this banner of Islam? Why is it so difficult? Why? Why are people chinksing and not bringing their effort to the plate? And it's not on my plate because I'm just here for a few days. Allah will remove me whenever He so desires to move me. And someone else would have to take the responsibility. Someone else will have to take that responsibility. So it has nothing to do with individuals. This is about the growth of the deen. So, my beloved, this question is asked. So I thought I should just do a little brainstorming and see if I could find an answer. Which I don't know if I found the answer, but I'll make an effort to explain what I think could be the problem. I'm going to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam because we have no answers except what Allah and His Messenger directs us to. Jabir radiallahu ta'ala an narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, knowledge is of two types. Knowledge that penetrates into the heart. This knowledge is beneficial. Two, knowledge that is merely on the tongue. This will be Allah's evidence against the son of Adam. Then I saw another hadith. I saw another one. Muawiyah radiallahu anhu narrates, I heard Nabi Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, the one for whom Allah intends good, He guides him towards the understanding of deen. The one who Allah intends good, He guides him towards the understanding of deen. Indeed, I am only a distributor, and Allah is the one who gives. So the brother who did this, who recorded this thing, he quoted from Mirqat. He said the second sentence of this hadith, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam came as a distributor of knowledge, and Allah is the bestower of understanding of this knowledge and helps in acting upon it. So what is our problem? Why are we so, lazy and indifferent to make an effort to work in the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That we just clinging to the earth, heavily to the earth. We running behind the dunya and pulling out all stops to make a few dollars or to have a better lifestyle. That only affects this flesh, this body for a period of time. What matters is what benefits our soul. That is what matters, because that is what is eternal. That is what goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the knowledge is of two types. The one that enters our heart, so I could be on this member and you could be listening to every khutbah and every lecture. And it has not entered your heart, it's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give you the understanding of religion. So you have plenty information, but no, it has not entered your heart. So your life will reflect not acting according to your knowledge. By doing what you're supposed to do. So the disease is that as individuals, we don't understand our deen. That is why we are so lazy and not willing to come forward to build on the foundation that has been sacrificed. So much sacrifice went into to establish since the days of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Sahabas gave their blood. They went through all unimaginable trials and difficulties to allow the foundation of this deen to be set in place. And all we need to do now as Muslims is do our part in order to carry deal with our part in our time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us, whatever few days we have here. Whatever few days we have, Allah has given us the opportunity to contribute so that we will be going on record. So when we stand on the day of Qiyamah and all these you know, the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam will have the Kautar, the Hawl, and on the day of Qiyamah. And his community will gather around him. Will gather around him. And there will be some people who will banished. Move from here, you're not from this community. Why? Because they did not follow the way of the Rasul and they invented matters that had nothing to do with Islam. So just because we call ourselves Muslim, we look the part, we dress, and all these different things, does not mean that we would be among the community of Rasulullah when we stand on the day of Qiyamah. So if we persist in our attitude to be instruments of obstruction from the growth and the development of the community, which is development and part continuing to carry the legacy of Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Dinul Haq. We are in an illusion that we are Muslim. Illusion. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala an narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam embraced me. He embraced me and supplicated, "O Allah, grant him knowledge of the book. Grant him knowledge of the book, Ilmul Kitab." Knowledge of the book. All of us who have read the Quran understand the value of Ilmul Kitab. In the days of Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, Prophet Sulaiman wanted the throne of Sheba to be brought to him. The throne of Sheba was a magnificent throne that was in Yemen, which is more than probably 1,000 miles maybe away from Jerusalem, where the seat of Sulaiman's power was, where his assembly was. He said, "I want that throne brought to me." One of the ifrits, which is a powerful jinn, you know the jinns and them, Allah give them some of them tremendous power. This massive, powerful ifrit. He said, I will bring it to you before this assembly, you arise from your assembly. Then, one who had kitab, knowledge of the book, told Sulaiman, I will bring it to you before you can blink your eyes. And before Sulaiman blinked his eyes, the throne of Sheba was presented in front of him. Ilmul Kitab, knowledge of the book. So we as Muslims don't understand the value of this Quran. Rasulullah embraced Abdullah ibn Abbas. And begged Allah, Ya Allah, give him ilmul kitab. So our problem, our disease that causes this inertia, this lack of willingness to go forward, unless we are forced forward, we need to be self-propelled. We need to say, I want to see this thing grow. I want in my lifetime to contribute and no longer to be a hindrance to the development of this deen. I want to do that because I'm going to go in my grave soon and have to answer for what I have done and what I have not done. I have to say, my deen is Islam. Prophet Muhammad is my prophet. Allah is my Rabb. But we want to say, how would we answer that Muhammad ibn Abdullah was our Rasul when we do not follow him, do not follow his instruction? We prefer to cling heavily to the earth, make every sacrifice to make our money. Many sacrifice, break we back under the weight for something that is transitory, something that will leave us as soon as we close our eyes. As soon as we close our eyes, we leave all the thing behind, wife, house, money, nice cars, everything, for people to fight over. All we're going back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with this, our amals, our deeds. And those deeds will only be accepted if it has been done fi sabilillah, for the pleasure of Allah. If it is not done for the pleasure of Allah, it will be of no value when we stand before Him for judgment. So, we are going to enter a new month, inshallah, by the grace of Allah, Safar, as soon as we see the new moon in a few days' time. So the time is passing swiftly over us, quickly. So our death is coming closer. You know, Brother Khalik's daughter, may Allah have mercy on her, passed away a few days back. All of us know Brother Khalik was one of the men who was a main support of this community. He has carried our school, paid teachers, everything contribution. Everybody knows that. His daughter died. And one of the things that was understood at that time, and one of the things that was said, during her janazah, the question was asked, how many more breaths do you have? Asking each and every individual, how many more breaths do you have? How many more? Allah has kept that hidden as to how many breaths we have. But we live as though we would live forever. We live as we live forever, not knowing that every salah we should pray as if it's our last prayer, because in fact, one of them is our last prayer. But we do not know. We do not have that knowledge. Allah has kept that hidden from us. So Muslims, I could talk until I drop. It won't make a difference. If you as an individual do not change the condition of your heart, if you're not prepared to get rid of the enmity, the hatred for one another. But the Rasul told us you'll never be a believer until you love one another. Never. We spoke last week. I mean, sorry for being so long, but we spoke last week about the scenario. And a brother thought I should rehash it in case people didn't understand. There will be two parties that come before Allah on the day of Qiyamah. Two parties. And one will come to Allah, Ya Allah, this man has transgressed my rights. I want my rights. I demand my rights. On the day of Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just, so everybody will be given their rights. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell the complainant, look to your right. Look to your right. And the complainant will look to their right. And they will see this beautiful Jannah. This beautiful, beautiful Jannah. This beautiful Jannah. The contender will ask Allah, Ya Allah, who is that for? Who is it for? He says, Allah repeated to him, whoever could pay his price. Whoever could pay his price. He said, what is the price, Ya Allah? He says, carrying your brother with you to paradise. That is the price. Carrying your brother with you to paradise. So although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Allah the just, is the one who's going to be judged in fair, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has told us that His mercy overrides, overcomes His wrath. When Allah commanded the pen to write, when He created the pen and He said, write, the pen asked, what should I write? Allah instructed him, among what is to be written, says, write, my mercy overrides and overtakes my wrath. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rahmah, His mercy, is divided into 100 parts. One part was sent down to this dunya for the mercy for us to share, the animals to share, the people to share, and so on. And Allah kept back 99 parts for the day of judgment. So all of us who are aggrieved and feel hostility, it's time to rest that down. Time to get rid of that. Time to embrace one another and move on. If we continue to hold on to that position, we will continue to be an obstacle in the growth of Islam. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, whenever the media, asked me certain questions here about, our relationship with the state and all that, I explained to them. I said, in World War II, there was millions of people were killed. The Germans were bombing England, left, right, and center, slaughtering them. Then the Allies, they killed in the French, and this one killing that one, and who killing who, and killing generations, thousands and millions, and bombing up the place and so on. After World War II, these people and them recognized that they must clear the rubble, and settle the issues, settle the differences. So they set up different, treaties and so on, and they end up allies with the European Union and all these things. All of them is under one umbrella, one organization. After all that bloodshed, after all that slaughter, Kuf understands that. In our case, we have the case where Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came into Medina, meeting the Aus and the Khazraj, have slaughtered one another for hundreds of years. This grandfather killed that grandfather, and great granduncle that killed this one more than all that. And Allah Subhanahu wa Taala instructed Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to bring their hearts together by His grace. So Allah Subhanahu wa Taala brought the hearts of the people together, and they were the foundation on which Islam was built in Medina. So we have our history, and we have these people's history, and we need now to move on and build this community. And if we choose, after hearing all this, to keep in our small world and keep toting our personal grievances and personal hatred, that's your problem. Keep that. That's your burden. You will have to live and die with that. You live and die with that. Sorry for you. But the train is moving on. It's moving on with those who want to be part. And the objective is to build, and whoever don't want to be part of it, as they say, Basa Karuna. That we're going forward. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala promised that if you do not do what you're supposed to do, He's going to remove you and put others in your place. And they will not be like you. They will be gentle among the believers and hard against the rejectors. So I have no doubt, even if Allah has called me back and I'm under the earth, that as long as there are believers who want to see the development of Allah's deen, Allah's help will come to them. Allah promises help. Allah helps those who helps His cause. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa barakatuh. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات. اللهم صل على سيدنا الفاتح المغلق والخاتم لما سبق نصر الحق بالحق والهادي الى صراطك المستقيم وعلى اله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. وقم الصلاة.